Welcome in, everybody, on a Wednesday. The Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football. Alongside former Wolverine Jim Scarcelli, I'm Dennis Fithian. We are ready to kick off the show. And Scar, I don't know. I would imagine, since you're in Southeast Michigan, that you've got a little inclement weather. Been a little wild this morning with some wind and some rain and everything else and some sunshine. A little bit of everything mixed in this morning. What's up?
Yeah, got the shorts on right now, Denny. We got 70 degrees out there, but life is good. We're going to talk about the winningest football program in the history of college football. We just wrapped up a great spring game with a great coaching staff and great players, and we're going to break them down and a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I liked you when you were talking, texting me on Monday, and I guess you did call me because you said not only did you like, what you saw in the spring game, but you liked, you liked the first half, you liked the second half, you really liked the depth that was out there. You saw the depth flash on Saturday. There were a lot of players that were held out of this game, getting cleaned up or whatever, little injuries. But the guys that did play, you could see down the line, Michigan's got a lot of good football players.
Yeah, when you're the head coach, you're constantly, you're trying to develop depth. People, I guess that goes in business, anything. You got to develop depth. Now, I remember when I was getting recruited, Danny, by Michigan State. And I remember the coach that was recruiting me, he told me this. He said, we can recruit with we can play with Michigan's top 22. It's when we have injuries and we have problems. They're the top 44 we can't compete with. So when I look at Michigan, I think our top 66 is as good as anybody in the Big Ten. I think we're better than anybody in the Big Ten. Our top 66. You could take our top 22 guys, put them on the bench, and I think we still have 44 real good football players that can compete. So I think our top 85, top to bottom, is strong, and that's what you want from your head coach. To build a strong roster, develop players, recruit good players, coach them up. And I think that's where we are. And I think, Harb said it. He said it after this, maybe it was before the spring game, but he said, this is the best version of us in 8 years. Those are the words he used. And I think that's what he's talking about, is that we got a lot of talent. He's got his coaching staff, guys that can coach and guys that can recruit. You got to have both. And and scheme it up, and he's got good players, and we're developing them. And I think our top 85 is strong. And it shows when you look at the scrimmages. It's like, man, you get, and then the second half is like, wow, we still got more good players in there that we're working through, and developing.
I'm with you on that. I think everyone hears you. You've got all of that, and you have a quarterback that's proven. That was nice. When you're talking about the three backup quarterbacks and, hey, this, and then you're talking about, well, you might not have liked how the quarterback 2 played in this particular game, but, oh, wow, look at quarterback 3, 4, 5, corner 5, 6. There were, a handful of guys, even if you didn't like how one of them was playing, you had another, close to half dozen guys out there at the corner that were promising. So all that stuff was good, Scar. That's good stuff for Michigan. Well, you want to focus in on the front 7 on Michigan's defense. That's what you're taking a look at today, correct?
Yeah, just another couple points that things I heard for the coaching staff. I wanted to talk about. Jesse Minter made this comment, and things they emphasize, and I thought it was so good. I thought it was great from a coaching standpoint to really, I heard a coach a long time ago say, you get what you emphasize. You get what you emphasize. And he talked about 4 things. Effort, this is what he wants from his defense. Effort, block destruction, ball disruption, and communication. And, those are great things when you say, okay, this is what we're going to focus on as a defense. We're going to have great effort, and you can see that when we put the tape on. We watch this film. You're going to see great effort. And he talks about block destruction. I mean, when you watch Michigan play, we do a great job of taking on blocks. Everybody talks about blocking and tackling. Yeah, but when you play defense, you always got to come off blocks. You got to learn how to come off blocks, beat up the guy that's blocking you and come off. And he emphasizes it. And then ball disruption. He wants to get turnovers. They want to focus on turnovers and communication. And it's so important that you get guys lined up properly. So you have to communicate. If I was coaching football again, boy, and I was coaching defense, I think I would really model the four things he's focusing on defensively.
That all sounds fantastic. I do want to tell everybody there's a lot going on in the game of recruiting. And for the latest in what's going on there, you join up the Maize and Blue Review, and you can do that today by simply going to, and you can look on the crawl here, subscribing to the Maize and Blue Review. Go to michigan.rivals.com. They sign up there. They got a great deal going on right now, and a lot of good things going on in terms of recruiting. And just so people are aware, Michigan, they're looking good for this guy, an offensive lineman, another offensive lineman. This one, a big one, 6'8", 270 pounds, out of Kansas City, Missouri, a 4-star lineman. He has indicated that he is announcing his college decision Friday on Instagram. I don't have the time. Hopefully it's going to be in the 1 o'clock hours, and then we can monitor it. But Scar, if you're just looking at recruiting for next year, Michigan has the 2 offensive linemen from Ohio already committed. Sprague, Josh Henschke has a forecast in for Sprague going to Michigan, so that would be 3. And then there's these 2 out of Texas that are both Michigan leans as well. Frazier, Anderson. That would be a lot of offensive linemen for Michigan in this cycle. And you get the the Sharon Joe Moore award.
I like that.
Yeah. So things are looking good on the recruiting front as well.
Yeah, that's it's great when we go into Texas. Obviously, Frazier, Dad played, but when we go into Texas and get a kid like Anderson, and then Missouri, I mean, that's when Ohio State had their program going. They go get Ezekiel Elliott from Missouri. Okay, now we're winning. Okay, we got 2 championships. Now we can go in and get one of the best linemen from Missouri. And that's a great thing. And probably have to shut down the offensive line recruiting this early. I don't think it's going to take more than 5. But, we're going to get into this film in a little bit, Denny, but just a couple things. I know sometimes in a scrimmage, I think as a coach, you have to understand some guys don't have an opportunity to make a play because of what plays were run against you, and simply taking on, playing your gap is sometimes good enough. A couple other things Harb's talked about. And I know he's real happy about this because I that was the first thing I was always focused on in our final scrimmage before our first game was no injuries. So it looks like we came out of there, at least that we know of, with no injuries. There was some, there were some different defensive schemes that we're going to get into. We're going to look at, but I think it's really obvious that iron sharpens iron, and that's when you got so many good players playing against each other, you're really going to develop guys. But we'll get into the front 7. There's some guys that really showed out that I didn't even have on the list, and I'm like, wow, okay. There's more guys that are going to be competing in some of these positions that we'll get into. But I saw the Buckeyes, Denny, talking about recruiting. I saw the Buckeyes just got a big receiver, kid out of Indiana. He's one of the top kids in the Midwest, top receivers in the country, 6'1" kid. They just got him, I guess, yesterday. So, that's why we got to have tall corners, because this kid's supposed to be a leaper, big 6'1" receiver. And, it is what it is, but you got to have guys that can compete with those kind of kids.
Yeah, Ohio State's still going to get a player or 2, and especially at wide receiver. How about a couple questions before we go right to the film? And Benjamin Hall the freshman out of Georgia, listed at 5'11", 235. He jumped out. But here's Mark asking about Khalil Mullings and if he looks like a real back, upside given limited playing time. Mullings listed at 6'2", 232. So, you got two guys that are a little bit bigger. I don't know, competition for being, I don't know, whether it's a short yardage back, big back, or being running back 3, I would put that that competition ongoing. What did you make of Mullings?
Look, when I was at practice and I got to look at Mullings up close, he is definitely a guy, long as he secures the football, but he looks the part, he looks the role. He's a big, thick, physical kid. And, when we get into short yardage, I don't know that we want to give the ball to Donovan Edwards. Corum maybe, but when we need 3 inches and 6 inches, I think Mullins is the guy. And I told you about that freshman, Denny. When I saw that kid at practice, I'm like, this kid we hit the jackpot with that kid, because he don't look like no freshman. They compared him to Haskins from a toughness standpoint, but I like Mullings. Big, he's got to secure the football. I think he dropped it once or twice last year, but short yardage, you bring him in the game, he's going to move the pile. So I like that. I like our running back situation depth-wise. Dunlap, we'll get into them next week, but since we're talking about him, I thought, I think Dunlap is going to be better. I think Mullings is going to be better. I think just more reps.
Yeah, I liked everyone. Heck, I like Leon Franklin there late. Taking a look at him, he's got legs like tree trunks. Went in and got that last touchdown in that game. He looked pretty good. So there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah,
I like it.
Antoine made a comment about the Buckeyes recruiting all them receivers. It's a good point, man. Keep taking all them receivers, man. Let them fight about getting touches and catches and neglect the defense. I hear you, Antoine. You got to recruit everything, man. You see Jim's building that offensive line. We want to pound people, man. Buckeyes are going to add 15 receivers.
Michigan's going to take 15 offensive linemen, and Ohio State's going to take 15 wide receivers. All right, let's go. That sounds good. You ready to hit the tape?
Yeah, Denny, let me just say this as we get into this. See some different things. When I was coaching, I had a little envelope next to my in my office, and as I went through the year, after every game, I would talk to my coaches and review things with the players, and there was always something in every game that you have something that maybe you didn't adjust good enough, you didn't like your personnel, you didn't like something. They did something that gave you problems. Every single game, there's somebody that does something. So I had this envelope. I just had a question mark on it. That was it. It just sat there. And then at the end of it, and I would put little notes in there after every game. So the Wolverines just played 14 games. I'm thinking that Jesse Minter has something like that too. So he had 14 games. He's got a lot of stuff on TCU in there, Michigan State. And then now in the spring, you go through things and you say, okay, let's see, how do we do this, that, or whatever? And I think, you're going to see some things that are a little different that I think he wants to, that I think we're going to take a look at doing. Anyway, Denny, can you switch us over to the other screen? Oh, there it is. All right. Okay. Well, let's see where we are here. It's not playing, Denny. What the heck is going on?
That's all right. Maybe
let's try going back.
Try exiting out like you did.
There it is. There it is. We got something going there.
All right. Let me try.
Okay. All right. Here's the very first play of the scrimmage. Let me make this bigger. Why is it small? Anyway, it is what it is. But this is the first play. And I found right away we know number 5 Stewart can come off the edge and bring pressure. And the first thing though is it's a new look. It's something different. You got 3 edge interior guys in the game. This is Jenkins over here on the edge, and one of our listeners pointed that out right away. That are we going to go with here's a 3 inside guys. We didn't do this last year. There's only 1 edge player in the game, so this is a different look. Or are they going to play Jenkins at a little edge? I don't know. anyway, you could see right away that 5 brings pressure. And so I want to focus on today. I want to focus on this front 7. Okay, so I'm not going to get into the other positions. We'll get into that later. Otherwise, I'm going to be talking about 22 guys. So we're going to focus on the front 7. And you can see right away, 5, he's got punch. He'll go inside. He'll go outside. And that's the first play. And anyway, Jenkins is out there on the edge again. So here's the second play. Grant showed improvement. You're going to see him make a play here. He's taking on a double team, comes off it. That's not his gap, and he's there. He comes off and makes a play. So that was one of the big concerns I have. Do we have a 3rd and 4th inside defensive lineman? I thought him and Good, 99 here, played well in the scrimmage. I thought they looked good at the practice I was at. So that's comforting. Look, edge. This is a different look, something different. We're playing an edge guy inside. Here's Stewart. Again, this might be some things that Minter is doing differently. So this is a little different look, a little different stunt. And I thought our linebackers, there's a lot of, we definitely got depth. I talked about the depth there. Junior didn't even play. So that's kind of good that other guys got some work. But,
yeah, Stewart on that, you had him lined up inside. He ended up at a right defensive end spot. He looked like he ended up twisting around and going already almost over on the left side.
Yeah, that was a little different stunt, Danny, a different alignment. That's what I'm saying. We didn't do that last year. Line edge players up inside so much, a little bit, but this was good to see. 99 good. I thought he improved. I think we need him. And he's not making this tackle. The announcer's going to call off Jenkins' name, but Jenkins is unblocked. This is an easy play to make. This is an easy play to make off the edge. Jenkins has made way better plays than this that are much more tougher to make. But I like how I'm seeing this. This backup guy take on a double team. Come off and be in a position to make a play. So I'm sometimes as a coach, you're looking at things. Even though a guy didn't make a tackle, you're looking at different things. 94, again, more edge. Are we going to see more 94 on the edge this year? What is it they're trying to do here? So they did it in the spring game. And this is not a good throw by JJ, but we'll get into that. We'll get into quarterbacks later. This is another guy, Danny, that we really wanted to see show improvement. Again, inside depth here. We know Jenkins and Graham can play. And I thought Benny did some good things. Here's 26 Benny. Just look at the effort. He's rushing the quarterback. He comes down and runs the guy. That stuff coaches love that stuff. You rush the quarterback and he's got the speed to come back. So this shows great effort. Get there. So that's 26. I think coaches feel good about where he is. So that's good stuff.
How about the responsibility for Jenkins there? You're on the inside. Are you just, sometimes you're in a pass rush situation, but is the responsibility a lot, to have to possibly play? I'm talking about Jenkins sometimes playing inside, sometimes playing outside.
Well, it's, with a guy like him, you can get away with it. I think his strength is inside. Does he have the speed to beat tackles on the outside? I don't know, but obviously it helps a player, I guess, from a draft standpoint also. Anyway, Barry now, the highly recruited kid from California, they seem to do a lot of stunning with him coming off the edge. Again, we talked about Benny here. This is this play. We just looked at it. So anyway, I like Benny's effort. I like his ability to take on double teams. I like our depth there now. It was one of those positions, like I said, where I was a little concerned with and feel a lot more comfortable after watching the scrimmage. So here's 55, Graham taking off right where he left off, and more, it got better. He played as a true freshman last year. So here's 8 more getting some pressure. Again, he didn't make a sack. He didn't make a tackle, but I like seeing the pressure. I like seeing the improvement. Here's our 3-4 front. So we showed a couple different fronts. Obviously, this is our bread and butter. Again, I just call it our 3-4 old school. This is what we run against Iowa and Wisconsin when we got to play those people, or if we had to play Michigan. And here's Harold coming off the edge. He's going to be a better player this year. But again, these are easy plays to make because he's unblocked. But I like I like seeing the double team by Graham taking on that. And those are plays that's what you really want to look at too. Sometimes it isn't the guy that makes the play that did a good job. Here's pressure. He's gonna keep getting better. Harold, we talked about him. He's been around now. We know he can play the run. Is he going to be a better pass rusher? This is showing good pass rush.
Look good there.
Yeah, so that's we're going to want to get that from him this year. Improved as a pass rusher. So that's good stuff. All right. Here's another guy, Denny. I didn't even have him on our list. Didn't even have this Bennett on our list. 52. Well, I guess he's in the mix now as an edge player. I thought we had 4 guys there: Harrell, Moore, McGregor, and Stewart. But this Bennett guy is going to be in the mix. He's going to add competition. 52. So, I mean, he takes he's slanting inside here. This is a scheme. They're asking him to slant. So it's he's doing what he has to do, but he's doing with great punch. He gets penetration. He makes the play. And this is one of many plays I saw this kid make. So Bennett is a 5th guy that I have on the list now as an edge player that I know the coaches feel real comfortable with after watching him in this spring game. So 52, we add him to the list. So I the way I see it, I got 5 good-looking edge players. Here's a misalignment that we don't want to do, but the offense rips us in there. We got nobody in this gap. So anyway, mental breakdowns. Coaches are really, when you got this much competition, coaches are really going to be looking at that kind of stuff too. I don't know why I got this in here, but this is Tuttle running the ball. Are they going to have a Tuttle package, Orgy package? But we'll break down Orgy and the other quarterbacks next week or the week after.
All right, I like it.
All right, let's see here. Where are we at here? They really like bringing this safety Barry off the edge. He shows some toughness. I can see why he was highly recruited. Just wanted to point that out. And here we go again with a missed. We got no one in this gap. We got 2 guys in the same gap, and they just run it in there. This is just total miss. This is a mental mistake because you see 2 guys in this gap. That's wrong. Someone's got to be here. There's nobody in that gap. So that's a mental breakdown. Can't have it. All right, now, Denny, can you tell me what number that is? What number player is that?
That looks like a day of Josiah Stewart, number 5.
Is that 5?
Looks like
he was bringing pressure all day. I didn't know if that was 8 or 5, but yeah, he's a problem. I guarantee you, offensive tackles are not going to be happy to see him line up. So he worked. He's got the power rush too. I'm going to show you some plays there. Here's Barrett and Benny teaming up on a nice inside run here. Stop. But I really like Benny's ability to play the double. And, I think get a yard or 2 in there. But that's a good offensive line we're going against, man. So if we can hold up against our offensive line, here's 52 again. I'm big on him as an edge player. He's going to be competing at that position. He's a mean, tough kid. Watch him here, Denny. They're working a little inside stunt. He takes the guy on. He comes off. And watch how he finishes up here.
Nice.
So that's Bennett. I've got him added to the list. We've got 5 edge players that can play. I guarantee you the coaches are feeling real good about the edge position.
I'm feeling good about it. Keyshawn Bennett, 6.
There he is, Danny. He's in the game. He's in the mix, and he's putting pressure on those other guys. So here he is again. This is the same play. Watch him throw this guy away and come off it and finish good. So that's good to see. What did I do? Did I go backwards? I thought Pollard showed improvement. Number 4, you're going to see him around making plays. He's going to be in the mix competing. Our linebacker depth is good. Hill Green did some good things. Rolder, and the Nebraska transfer, Halston, you're going to see him. Let's see who this is here. And that's Kenneth Grant. I just like I like him. I like seeing him stabilize the point of attack. He punches. He doesn't get any. They get no movement. And then he comes off. He's in a position to make a play. Now there's just a linebackers got to step up. We got a problem there, but I'm looking at other players that are at least doing their responsibility. So I'm feeling real good about Kenneth Grant. And here's 26 again, Benny. Watch how he finishes up here. Come off it. So feeling good about that position.
Hey, Scar, what do you think? You got a question about Grant, and he is listed in the spring roster at 6'3", 356. He looks good. He looks fast. He looks strong. Ooh, what kind of weight do you think that you want to get him up? You want to get him down? You like him right where he's at?
I like the way he's playing. I mean, he looks like he's not being asked to win any sprint contest. Okay, he's asked to take. I think he looks good. I think he's moving well. I bet you the coaches feel comfortable with him. This was a nice job by Halston and Moore. Moore got better, and the transfer from Nebraska. So they're playing. Moore does a good job coming off it, and that's a good firm tackle. He's not letting him fall forward too much. So I like where Kenneth Grant is when I watch the film. I mean, I feel good about it. He's taking on double teams. He's coming off blocks. He rushes the quarterback. Pollard, number 4. This is real good. He times his blitz up real good. That takes practice. And number 8 and 26. Coming, bringing pressure, and then they're dropping Bennett in here. Some stuff we've done. So that's just what's going on here, and it's good to see that Bennett has the athleticism come off like that. But I like how Pollard timed this blitz up, and he brings it. He knocks this running back over, and then that's a beautiful thing right there. 26 and 8, 3 guys in the mix right there. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Scar. I'm with you. Micah Pollard there,
Pollard. Yeah, he's going to get more and more reps this year. He looked good in this game.
They did.
And, this is the stuff. You look at it and say it's okay. It's just a normal play, but this is Josiah Stewart now playing some of this run stuff with the quarterback, and you just see the athleticism that he's a Von Miller type kid. That's what he is to me. He's only like 6'2". Maybe 230, 35, but he's gonna come off the edge and make plays. Okay, here he is with the bull rush, and this is the stuff that like I said, he's not the biggest kid, but watch him here, Denny. He's only 235, but he takes this tackle and just puts him right back into the quarterback. He doesn't. It's not a sack, but you're seeing that kind of punch from an edge player. So he's got the speed. He's got to have the punch too. Here's again 78. Watch what Big Grant does to this left guard here. Watch this.
Whoa.
That's 78, man. 78 in the house.
That's what they used to call a decleater on.
Yeah. So you asked me about his weight and his size, this whatever. This is what you want from your defensive tackle.
Yeah, that's right. Okay?
I don't care if he's 368, 56, whatever the hell he is. I want this right here. I don't want him winning mile runs,
man,
or agility drills or sprint tests or all this other garbage. Do that. So this guy, the announcer calls off this guy's name, but who made the play? They don't even talk about Grant.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was good to see this from Good. I was happy that he gives us a 5th guy now. 99 solid backup. So I count 5 guys that I feel good about, and I've watched him play double team. Now he's coming down. They're running a little stunt. He's unblocked, but he's got athletic ability, and he makes plays. And I know the coaches feel good about him. So that gives us 5 guys. I think inside they feel real good about.
Yeah, he looked like a dancing bear on that one. I like it.
Here's the last play that I have here for today. But here's 78 Grant. He's got to learn to get contained here now. You got to be able to do this. So they're throwing the ball here. Anyway, I know the coaches feel good about our interior and our edge positions. Again, a lot of guys today didn't make plays because they weren't they weren't in positions to, Denny. So that's all with that. And we'll figure out how to get that full screen. I don't know what happened there, but next week I'm going to go over the front seven on offense. I did the front seven today and with our inside linebackers, interior D line, edge players, and again, it's just you see the depth, and there's going to be some real competition at linebacker, and so feeling good about that front seven.
Yeah, I like what you pointed out about Keyshawn Bennett and Rayshon Benny and going through that. Also adding Zeke Berry and Micah Pollard and what you saw there. Those were things that
Danny, I don't know what I saw some lists, in the papers I read. This guy, that guy stood out. I don't know. I don't read my guys. It's when a coach looks at stuff, you might not even have a guy might not even make a tackle. But he did a great job. He could have had a great scrimmage because he took on the double team real well, or he applied inside pressure on pass rush, and maybe he didn't get home, but and those are some of the things I saw from Benny, from Barry, or from Benny. Got a lot of B's there. Bennett, Benny, so a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, well, I felt good, Scar, because I made a list, and I did have Rayshon Benny on my list, so I liked what I saw there. So I feel good that it at least matches up a little bit with what you had to say. And I had Grant on there too. It didn't take like Grant. We can go with your average person watching 78 and saying, "Man, that dude, he had a good scrimmage. He looked pretty good." And those individual plays that you look at and seeing guys, just a rep, and you put them out there, and you kept seeing 5 being able to get around the offensive lineman or target in on that quarterback. It was good that you had him out there stretching it out and getting to the sideline and escorting JJ out of bounds on that one. I mean,
if you look at him compared to Mozzie Smith, this kid's he's probably further along than Mozzie was as a sophomore. And he might give more pass rush than Mozzie ever did because he might be a little more. I don't know if he's going to play double team as well. Mozzie was great playing double team. Mozzie was great playing that physical inside run stuff and coming off and making a play in his gap. But Grant could be a guy that can give us more from a pass rush standpoint. He's a young kid. He's just going to do nothing but get better. And now Good's been around. And it's but that's why I think he was a transfer, right, Denny? Good.
Yeah, Central Florida, correct.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a guy that last year I was like, man, I don't know why we bring this kid in, but now I see it. He got acclimated. He's going to play this year. He will be in the rotation. Not just the first 3 games of the year. So I see him being in the rotation.
Scar, what's your opinion of Peyton O'Leary? He scored the 2-point conversion to put his team in front and ultimately win it there. And he made a lot of plays, not only on that 2-point conversion, but he set him up to get down there in the red zone earlier in the game. He was out there just running, these 20-yard outs, and McCarthy was, peppering him with targets. So it wasn't just late in the game. It was early in the game. It was the entire game. At 81, he's 6'3". He earned a scholarship. Is that something, or is that just spring?
Denny, if they put him on scholarship, that's not the first time he's done those things.
Yeah.
Okay, he has shown in practice that he's a good football player. So he probably was a preferred walk-on, a kid that was, probably recruited by some other people because he's not, he's an athletic kid. So he was impressive. They got their quarterback seem to have confidence in him. He's making catches, and he's probably done it in practice. And it's good to have, man. The more depth, the better. And showing that he can. Let's see, can he block? What can he bring to the table? You got to block. Can we throw a bubble screen to him? What can he do? But he looked good, and it's if he's on scholarship, it wasn't a one-day thing.
Yep. I'm just looking through some of the feedback. Shane saying that Michigan basically runs a 4-2. They got a lot of linebackers. They got a lot of versatility. They can do a lot of different things. They say it's a 3-4, but they've got their edge right up there on the line. So you could say that's a 4. But now when you have Nakai Hill-Green back, and he played, and he was running around making some plays in this game, 41. And the addition of Hausman and Junior Colson didn't play in this game. Those are some – you mentioned Rolder. These are linebackers, Scar, that Michigan now they've got some depth there as well. So they can do they can fit a lot of different ways. I know defenses, just like in basketball, they like saying positionless players. These defensive coaches like to talk about having an amoeba defense where they can do anything out there with the different fronts and move guys around. But when you think about the safeties and the defensive backs that Michigan has, and then the linebackers now in the depth, and now we're looking at these defensive tackles and edges and everything else, they've got a lot of things that you can just see it. I'm no coach, Scar, but what do you think about all of that?
The one problem I think with the linebacker position is, I know as a coach, I always rotated my edge guys, my defensive linemen. I rotated secondary guys, but the inside linebacker was a guy that got our defense lined up. That's where it's kind of like your quarterback. You want to rotate quarterbacks defensively. So that's one of the things that might keep coaches sometimes from rotating those guys. But I'd like to see them have the ability. There's no reason any linebacker for Michigan should ever play tired. There's no reason. There's too many good players. There's too much depth. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
no, I think you did. And I did not mention Michael Barrett, who was out there and not in this particular game, but last year, and was so big in different personnel, different matchups. He was a matchup piece.
Denny, listen, probably 80% of the snaps that Michigan played defensively last year, we had 2 edge players in the game, 2 inside defensive linemen, Jenkins and Mozzie, and 2 edge guys, and then 2 inside linebackers, and then 5 secondary guys. Majority, probably 80% of the reps of the snaps was that type of personnel. Okay. Saturday, we showed 3 D linemen, 1 edge, 2 inside linebackers. There's times last year we ran a 5-1 look, 1 inside backer, 2 edge. So Minter will mix it up. He'll do different things, and for whatever again, the question I have is defensively. You do different things. Okay, what's motivating him to do those different things? Is it TCU? What is it? Why do you want to run this different look, and you want to have 3 inside guys, 1 edge? I don't know, but he knows why he wants to do things. And like I talked about with my question mark envelope, I had 14 games, and then you do different things the following year. Say, okay, maybe I need a faster guy in this position instead of a bigger guy, or maybe I want a big guy over here. I want an edge guy or a safety here based on this adjustment for this team in this situation. So you're constantly reviewing all the different formations, all the different schemes that people did against you, and saying, okay, do I have the right personnel in? Do I want to change it this? Anyway, that's what coaches do in the offseason, and then you see it in the game, in the spring game, that they're working on some different things.
What do you think they wrote down after the TCU game? Because obviously there was the big 5 plays, the Quentin Johnson obviously being able to tackle him and get him down on the 3rd and 7 instead of him going for 76 yards. That's pretty easy for everyone to see. Just like the 2 pick sixes, those are things that everybody saw. The Philly special, the fumble at the goal line, those are 5 plays that really cost Michigan. But in that game, TCU was able to line up, and they were able to run the ball on Michigan. And then late in that game, when if Michigan could have got them off the field in 3 downs, it would have set themselves up where they had some more time with the clock, and instead they were able to get a key first down. What do you think they wrote down there about the run?
Yeah, Danny, listen, the TCU was primarily, 2 and 2, 2 guys here, 2 guys there, 1 back and a quarterback, or 3 and 1. So they want to spread you, okay? And the upside of spreading from an offensive standpoint, it's hard to give a lot of different looks because they got the field spread. You got to defend all that. So if I'm guessing Michigan defensively, is going to find ways to give different looks to an offense. How do we stop quarterback run out of the 22 formation? How do we stop some of this stuff and still stop the pass games and put the offense in conflict? How can we do these things? And maybe that's some of the stuff he's looking at when you see some of the different personnel that we saw in the spring game. So, Danny, to answer your question, if I'm coaching Michigan's defense, I'm looking at that TCU film probably more than any game we played last year. And I'm like, how can I put this offensive coordinator in conflict so he doesn't know where I'm going to be sitting, in this every down. And so he doesn't know. So I can keep him guessing as much as he's got us guessing. And some of that is, do I zone? Do I blitz? Do I change this personnel? You can't just sit there in the same front all the time because they'll just abuse you.
I like it. Questions coming in. You did not have Will Johnson in this game, so you saw a lot of different corners. Of course, you had 2 number ones, Amarian Walker, who was a wide receiver, played a little bit at DB last year, but he was out there, and there was a lot of hype about him. And then you had McBurrows, who was back, and here's Chase saying he thought he was solid. And then you had a lot of the younger guys. You had the 2 freshmen that were in for spring. You mentioned him a little bit earlier, Jair Hill, number 20. He showed that he could come up as a kid that's still in high school and play the run, and he had an interception. It looked like he moved pretty good. They called it back because there was an offsides call, but still, he made the play on that. So you had those young guys, and my guy from Tennessee, Miles Pollard, number 24, he had an interception. What did you make of those the corners out there? I know
there's you saw guys that come up and tackle, and they didn't throw it over our head. So I like seeing that. Nobody's throwing deep on us, and then we're going to come up and tackle. So that's what you want. And we did a lot of different things. I didn't appear to see it. My initial observation, I'm going to cover the secondary another day, but my initial observation was that we were pretty sound. It didn't look like we had mental mistakes, empty, guys not covered, no one running free. Amarian Walker, we got to be patient with him. He's a hell of an athlete. He just started playing defense now. He's going to get it figured out. He's going to get more comfortable. And you're absolutely right. McBurrows is solid. He's a good-looking athlete there. There's depth there. There's length there. Both those guys are tall, good-looking, athletic guys. We saw McBurrow come up and tackle. So, you want guys that are smart, tough, and Denny, it looks looking like the 97 D. Ironic, the number 1 semi. The 97. Hey, what about the 85 defense, Shane? We led the country in scoring versus the score. Anyway,
how many points? Yeah, 80.
The defense looks sound because there's great depth, there's good coaching, and I'm definitely fired up about our defense.
Boy, I didn't think about that. Shane telling me something. I'll have to check him. I'll take his word for it. But the first semifinal being played in the Rose Bowl, boy, that'd be nice to see Michigan. I mean, that's the goal this year. It's even beyond getting to the semis to be able to get to the finals. But having an opportunity to play in the Rose Bowl again.
Something, Denny, I didn't think about that is actually going to help the Big Ten is that in most situations, every Big Ten team will go to the Rose Bowl to play UCLA. So that's an advantage for the Big Ten teams. The guys will be in that environment. It's just it's an advantage. Those are little things to having played on that field, know the locker room, know the surroundings, know the field. Those are little things that matter. So that's a good thing that for the Big Ten in having to play in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I tell you, you go out there the first time and you are starstruck. Isn't it? It's a, I don't know if culture shock. It is a dream world out there, Scar. I don't know, like the experience. Did you play in the Rose Bowl?
I was on the field in uniform. I did not play. It was my sophomore year. I didn't play, but yeah, I was there, warmed up, and
Wow.
it would have been nice to play. I didn't get I was just a young guy,
Yeah, but the setting there.
It's unbelievable, man. It's an unbelievable setting, and we had played UCLA the year before in the Bluebonnet Bowl in Houston, and we beat the hell out of them. They had maybe 5,000 fans there. Okay, so now we play them the next year in their home field, and they got 50,000 fans there. And it was a wholly different environment. It was their home field. They beat us there, but it's a hell of it's a heck of an environment. It's something that I would tell Michigan people now that we're going to have a chance to go there, in the regular season, go check it out. It's a beautiful, it's out there in the mountains, man. They built this stadium way out there, away from Los Angeles, and
it's such a dream world. You'd hear everybody, and Bo was so big on Rose Bowl. He loved it. He talked about it all the time. Rose Bowl, Rose Bowl, Rose Bowl. And then I went out there, and everything that he was saying, just resonated with me. And what you're talking about with the mountains, I mean, you can't have a better setting. And then it was just so it's a New Year's Day, and it was a little bit chilly in the morning, but it got up where that sun came out. And I never listened to the Beach Boys before, but they're down there at a tailgate. They're playing a Beach Boys song, and I was like, man, this really is really heaven. That's what it is. That's anybody. If I could sell you on going to the Rose Bowl, there it is. College football semifinal. Michigan playing in the Rose Bowl.
Denny, I went to a game years ago, and I didn't realize there was a big golf course right around the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. When you're a player, I mean, we roll in on the bus, you don't see anything. You see the locker room, you see the field, and that's it. I didn't get a chance to experience any of that,
Yeah, the stadiums, they've made improvements since I was there, but the stadium's nothing really special, but it's everything, just surrounding it,
Yeah.
And you look up there, you mentioned the mountains, and you see some of those houses up there, and you're saying, you know what, that would be something else, being up there, having the Rose Bowl down in your backyard or something, man.
So anyway, Denny, if we had to start game one and play tomorrow, I'm thinking the Michigan Wolverines are going to start Junior, and we're going to start Hill Green.
Ooh.
I think that might be the way they go. I think Houston, Barrett is, oh man, it's going to, I guess it might depend on who we're playing, what they want. Do they want Hill Green or do they want Barrett? But God, so I think that's how we're going there. I think our inside guys would be Jenkins and Graham. That would be the starters. And our edge guys, probably Harrell and McGregor and Stewart. Man, it's going to be really, really competitive for those three guys. How are they going to start? But they're all going to play a lot of reps on all those inside D line and edge positions. They're all going to rotate.
Harbaugh's playing everyone. He's got a lot of good players to play, so he'll play them all. That's it. Stewart looks like a bulked up Peppers. Well,
he's got that burst, man. He's not the tallest kid, but boy, he comes off the edge and he's got punch. So, I love it. I love it. It's a great little. You got McGregor. These tackles are going to have to pass protect against McGregor and Moore one down, and then the next series, here comes number 5 coming off the edge. So. Those tackles better be ready for all kinds of Wolverines coming after their quarterback.
Peppers wore 5. Josiah Stewart wears 5. I can also see where you're going there. Or Scar, you wore 85. So, or is that just the 85 defense?
No, I wore number 85, man.
85 defense for 85 out there. I like it. There you go. Do you have any final thoughts?
Now, next week we'll break down the offensive line. If people have any thoughts about what you want to hear more of in terms of film breakdown, let me know. But real confident with that front 7. It's all good, Danny.
It sounds good. And Scar, I know that the team after the game, the one side got to eat steak. You're always eating steak, right? What do
Did
you
they
go?
do that this year? I didn't hear it. Is that what they did?
I heard Butt and Gardner talking about steaks and hot dogs. So they all
I hope Harbs got rid of that, but so it came down to the 2-point conversion. And you know what I wanted to know? Did they say who coached the defenses for the teams? Who was calling the defenses? They talked about the two head coaches, Hart and Harbaugh, but they didn't talk about who was. I wondered who was because there was a different scheme. There was like a different philosophy with each team defensively, and I just wondered who was calling that. You didn't hear?
I wasn't paying attention to that. No, I did
well,
not.
I was, and I was wondering who's what it was unless Minter was calling both defenses. I don't know.
You could be on something. I'm not sure. Scar, it's great. I know you'd go with a T-bone and put it on the grill. That's if you had your pick of steaks. Is that what you're doing?
I like my deer meat, Denny. I like a big old deer steak. I like
back straps.
Oh yeah, I got some of that in the freezer right now. But yeah, I'm a T-bone sirloin kind of guy.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Scar, you did a great job today. You got me fired up. It's Wednesday. I'm thinking, we've already been over this spring game. Man, 2 minutes in, I was fired up like it was, 7 o'clock on Saturday. Great job.
Yeah. Hey, our top 66 best in the Big Ten. Our top 85 best. Our 140. Coach talks about 140. It's better than anybody. You take it's just Jim has built it, man. We got depth.
Great job, Jim.
All right, D.
Our Jim.